All right. It is now 1:26 on Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026. And greetings, and gratitude to Dr. Janet Haynes, my academic auntie. I call her AJ, and every last one of you had a chance to hear her story as being one of two pilot participants in the research study entitled Sitting with Trees. Welcome, Dr. Janet.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, yes. And it's going to be hard for me to just call you Dr. Janet, so
Well, just call me whatever.
I'm gonna go back to AJ and Auntie. So,
Okay. That totally works for me.
and as we said in the video before, you wanted them to know how AJ came about. So A is the aunt, J is the Janet. So
Yes.
now we're all on the same page. All right, so I have a total of 13 questions that I will pose to you, and the students are unaware that you are going to be responding to their questions. So,
Goody.
are you ready for question number one?
Ready to go.
All right. A thoughtful question I would ask Dr. Haynes is, what advice would you give to students who are unsure about their career path but still want to make a positive impact on others?
Stephen Covey's quote comes to mind for me, and it's called Begin with the End in Mind. So, whatever you do, keep in mind what you hope the final outcome will be, but just continue to press forward. Know that there may be obstacles, challenges, whatever. You just keep going. Good days, bad days, you have a goal, you have a mission. And it's not one, it's different like, when you're less mature and you don't feel like going to the soccer game and you make the choice not to go. That's one thing. But when you have a mission or a goal in your heart, you keep that at the forefront of everything that you're doing. And then just get involved in the activities that are leading there, but try to put the steps you're actually taking out of your mind and think about the joy
Hmm.
that you can sustain from feeling the energy of knowing that you're about to achieve what your heart truly desires. Why are you laughing? I thought it was pretty good.
Uh, Auntie, it was better than pretty good because you just spoke to me.
Well, it's what I do every day. You wait till you get to be this age. You better begin with the end in mind and act like this might be it today.
No, sincere. That was a student from a question, but that answer spoke directly to my soul and the
Okay.
walk that I'm on right now, even to this class of sitting with trees. So thank you. Thank you for that. And also, student, you know who you are. Thank you for that question.
Yes.
Question,
Powerful.
question number two. Do you regret not going into green spaces sooner, or are you grateful of the experience for the path it's led you to now?
I have to say the latter, that I'm grateful for the path that's led me to now, because even though I did not formally go into green spaces with the energy I possess today, which energy is one of those constantly changing things. It's not a place on the map, it's not a fork in the road. That's the target's constantly moving, okay? I, in some respects, was always in green spaces, even when I didn't know it. When I look back at my travel journeys as a professional, personal travel, I don't have any situation I was in where I wasn't somewhere where there was water, greenery, shrubbery, flowers, something green. And at that time, I never thought about it.
Mm,
I was just doing me. But
mm,
I know that in retrospect, that because I captured those photos on my phone, because I'm the selfie queen, that somehow that was energizing my spirit to keep me moving forward. So that when it was time to embrace this as a formal process of learning, knowing, and being, I fell right in.
mm,
I
mm.
fell right in. No thoughts, no doubts, no questions. Boom, we're there.
Mm. And that was another ripple. So you said learning and being. So
Yes.
onto epistemology, all up in here. All right, all right. Thank you for that. Question number
Sure.
three. The question I think I would ask specifically to Dr. Haynes is if she feels proud of herself. She has described a glimpse of an immense amount of work, unraveling, and grounding to get to where she is now, and presents with her story with humility. I think I would be proud of myself if I was her. That's question number three. Are you
Well,
proud of yourself?
I'm very proud of myself to the point that I have to check my ego at the door. I think I'm all of that and about 10 bags of chips on most days.
Not
Whether I
not
have
not 8 bags,
10, I
10
got
bags.
all 10 and a
Okay.
box stored away, okay?
Okay.
Just in case somebody gets into them.
Yes, ma'am. That's real.
But yeah, I am. And what you described earlier is a very scholarly representation of what my sister describes as peeling my eyeballs back to get this PhD, my EDD.
Mm,
She says you literally peeled your eyeballs out or
okay.
back. And so, yeah, I am proud. And I'm most proud of the part that I'm on right now, this place, this space in my life, because I went through such struggle to get my degree, my terminal degree. And one of the commitments I made is I stood on that stage and I listened to all the blah, 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 hoo, and silently undressing myself on the stage. And that's another story. We'll talk about that later. It was 100 degrees in DC. Those gowns are really hot. So I just started pulling off my clothes as many as I could without
No,
doing.
no, not right now. They
Okay,
ain't
not
ready
right
for
now. I'm
that
not gonna
part.
tell the whole story. I'm not gonna go that part. But anyway, my point is that yeah, I'm very proud because now I still get to give back. And one of the things that happens as a person ages, and I hear it all the time from people my age and some even younger, they talk about the invisibility
Mm,
that and the deeper sense of marginalization they feel due to aging, and of course, taking up black space
mm-hmm,
in the world.
mm,
And so it's almost like a double whammy there. And I'm glad right over it. Right over, right through it.
yes,
Nothing to it. Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
and that's the best part of this, giving back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love how your dimple came out when you talked about giving back. Okay, that's a side story. All right. In the beginning of the interview, Dr. Janet spoke about the thought that our struggles today are nowhere near the struggles of our ancestors. I wondered, I wondered how can do I learn to find a balance where I keep that mindset while not downplaying and overlooking my current struggles? So I just read it as is, but I think you kind of understand.
I do get it. It's like when you're in these bodies, in this space and in this time, it's almost like you're living in two worlds, um, metaphysically. You're grateful for everything you have today, but there's always that realization that none of this would be possible if it weren't for ancestral legacy.
Mm,
And so I think the best way to honor those feelings is to always maintain a sense of concern and mindfulness would be the word, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. They were absolute giants. And that everything they were and some still are to us here in this life, it's meant the world to us, whether we believe that or not.
And I want to dive into the second part of that. And that's because I didn't read it or edit it before I read it. But it said, without downplaying and overlooking my current struggles. How would you speak to that?
We shouldn't downplay or overlook our current struggles because those are very real for us. And we have to be in a space where we can accept, recognize, and make plans on how we're going to get through.
Mm,
We have to be mindful of that. And it's not a contest to see who had it worst here, okay? The ancestors are us. There's no contest. The important thing I think is that we remain grounded in ourselves, where we're able to speak honestly to ourselves about our current struggles and the current challenges that we face, knowing that it doesn't take away from the shoulders that we still stand on. And somehow at the same time, maintaining a cognitive awareness that the shoulders that we stand on, they actually inform and give us strength when we lean into that process
Mm,
of honoring legacy. That's part of it.
yes.
Yeah. Whenever I have really deep problems, I just sort of do this thing where I refer to it as going into my upper room, and I reflect on all the stories of the ancestors, their grace, their wisdom, their knowledge, their strength, and somehow it helps me to look at my problems as not minuscule, but just something that I need to figure out how to move through. And the gift of being here today is that they've given us the tools and the lessons so that once we focus on that with some sense of determination and leaving our minds open to the fact that there can be many truths,
Yes.
then we can see a way that we can manage our struggle effectively.
Thank
It's
you.
not a contest. They've given us the keys, and we just need to get back in touch with that part of ourselves. And it all becomes somewhat how very clear.
Amen and ashe. Yes, ma'am. All right, question. Thank you for that. Question number
Mhm,
5. With your journey into nature, how have you, Dr. Haynes,
mhm.
advocated for the more Black visibility within nature? That's the first part of the question. Let's start there. How have you advocated for Black visibility in nature?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer. How have I advocated for Black visibility in nature? I mean, we're in my mind, because some of us are, we were the first people, and our legacy dates back to indigenous days. And then we were, brought over here on slave ships. I mean, to me, we are the land
Mm, there it
in my
is.
mind. There's no, how do I don't have to do a thing because this is the land and we are the land.
Mm, black soil, baby, black soil.
Sorry about
Hey,
that.
hey, Unc.
She said, "Hey, Unc." He's hollering hello as he disappears. But anyway, yeah, I think of it as it doesn't really require any sort of patent type, you know, process because it's ours. I think it's here because of us.
Mm,
It's been sustained and nurtured for years because of us. We grew the first gardens.
mm,
We honored the first trees. Yeah, we were ecology before anybody even had coined that word or
mm,
phrase.
mm.
We were already that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
My dad had a garden when I was growing up in Louisville, Kentucky as a child that fed the neighborhood. And so I don't think he promoted the thing. Everybody knew it came over and said, "Well, Mr. Haynes, what do you have?" And then he said, "Go back there and see it. Save me from weeding. Take what you want. Throw away the weeds while you're at it."
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And this student provided a two-part question. The
Okay.
second part is, do you think that your childhood experiences would be different if you were not intellectually advanced at a young age?
Probably. I don't imagine most people would put their child in a choir when they're 9 months old and expect them to stand there and be quiet and not have a pacifier or anything, just be calmly looking around. Well, I mean, I wouldn't put a 9 month old I've ever known up in the choir. Well, they tear everything up.
Hmm.
And taking me to a funeral at 7 or 8 months old, who does that? You know, I could imagine the fit that the child would throw. So I think it did provide me with a different kind of advantage. And then of course the age of my parents, they didn't know what to do. Who would they know that babysits when you're 50 years old? my babysitters were already people that had jobs. Okay, they were no teenagers.
They had full careers.
They had full careers, full lives. Some of them even had husbands. Okay, so now come
Uh-huh.
on. Yeah,
Uh-huh
these
now.
were no teen. There were no teenage gadgets in my life as a child. So it was a good thing I was advanced because I had to go everywhere with them.
Oh.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a whole nother class
yeah, probably.
and you know what? This is about your interview. My brain already started going out there. All right,
That's all right.
I'm gonna
Bring
bring it back.
yourself back in, but do like you did me. Bring it back.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Question number 6.
Okay.
This question is rather general, and I think it might be good to have a general question.
Okay.
I think I am just looking for some more insight into her experience. But she mentioned that COVID was like a turning point. She described it as a blessing. I want to know if there were other similar times in her life where she felt similarly like how she did when she was asked to sign her name.
I'd say that I probably lived a lifetime with somewhat of an imposter syndrome. And part of that comes from the fact that I had my first corporate career began when I was 19 years old.
Mm,
And so, that's been what, almost half a century ago. So yeah, yeah, I've had moments where I had hesitation in my spirit and anxiety in my soul from being in somewhat foreign situations where I was the only one. And yeah, I did. I suffered greatly from that, but I also matured as well.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And I wish I had time to dive into all these questions, but we still have another 7.
I
So
know.
let's go. Number 7.
All
One
right.
question I have after watching her interview is, how did she stay motivated during the most difficult moments in her journey, especially when progress may have felt slow or uncertain?
Well, I had my dad for most of that journey, and I also had a real strong internal sense of faith, humanity, and responsibility, self-responsibility, and accountability to myself. And so that's really what kept me on the path. That's what kept me moving when I didn't want to move, doing things I didn't want to do. And sometimes they were utterly ridiculous things. And yeah, and so I think it was my own self accountability as much as anything else, plus the foundation I had.
Mm,
But again, uh, even people that don't necessarily have the kind of foundation I had, where I was nurtured by a whole community, blah, 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 I think you can develop that a person can develop that within themselves by being focused on who they are, what they want to achieve, and what actually speaks to their soul. I think that's the most important thing.
I feel like that's a theme in your answers. The whole aspect of authenticity and speaking to what's in your soul at your core, even when it gets hard.
Exactly.
But we're going to keep it moving.
Okay.
Number 8. How did the maturity you had at such a young age, learning to read by 4 and even hilariously being put in the choir at 9 months, affect relationships with people your own age? Was it a hindrance or did it not really affect them?
It could have been a hindrance, but I wouldn't let it.
Hmm.
And part of that, I guess, was part of the social acumen that I developed from watching um, a variety of people from different walks of life, different ages, all of them grown, old. And I watched how they interacted with people that may not have necessarily had the same opportunities or advantages that they had. And they knew how to be likable and be approachable and be engaged even during impossible times. And I think that's basically what I did.
Mm,
I mean, I was the kid that skipped. I never went to fifth grade. I went from grade 4 to grade 6, and that was an anomaly of itself, especially back then. And I just was always kind, outgoing, and as generous as I could be with people, no matter what. And I think the key word there is consistency, being the same no matter who you are, what you have, or what you get.
mm.
Yeah.
I'm loving this whole elder in residence experience and to have these questions from students posed to you because then I get to learn more about you. I didn't know
Okay.
that you skipped fifth grade.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Whole another side conversation. I'll ask you
Yes, it is.
time.
Okay. Yes.
All right, number nine. Do you personally feel that self-reflection and time alone helped you reshape and analyze your mistakes? Or was it the knowledge you instilled into yourself that was?
I'd say the latter. Part of my upbringing was that we don't focus on mistakes. We
Mm,
focus on opportunities. We reframe. We regroup. We're moving through. My dad said, just because you land in hell, you don't have to make a camp there. Figure it out and move on to a better place, better opportunity. Yeah, pull it together. So it'll
mm,
be the latter.
mm.
Absolutely.
Just because you land in hell don't mean you got to make a camp there. You better say
Yeah.
something. All right. Let me write that down. Let me write that. Number 10. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Number 10. Why does being in nature allow one to feel better or to allow our emotions to subside? It's a two-part question. We'll start there.
Well, first of all, when you're in nature, you recognize that you're out in a place that nobody necessarily waters. It's rain, okay? You're in a place where these trees are a gazillion years old and
Yeah.
nobody's pruning them, nobody's talking to them, nobody's, giving them a massage or treating them to a microwave dinner, but they still standing.
Mm, mm.
And so, once you get real with yourself, it's kind of like, look, here, I can learn something because somehow the universe, the creator, or whoever else you want to bring in has managed to keep all this going
Yes.
for years and years and years, and it'll be here long after I'm gone.
Oh,
So I can get something here if I want it. If I open up my heart and my mind and receive, this is where it's happening. This is where it's already been made. It's done. As that your this next generation says, this is all the things right here.
all the things.
All the things.
Mm, uh, uh.
Yep, it's all the things.
I had to
And
get
so
my
that
lips,
get
I had to get my lips ready for that one. 'Cause boy, that was
well,
kissably sweet right there.
it gives you perspective.
Yes. You said
Yeah, it's
the
huge,
word.
huge perspective.
Mm, all these trees and plants and flowers. Nobody's out there, you said, giving them a massage or a microwave dinner. Okay, all right. Keep me here forever. The second part of that question, how does nature ground us in a way that we forget our initial problems?
It reminds us that we're safe.
Mm,
These trees have survived storms, bad weather, things running into them, drought, starvation, and whatever disease, and they're still standing.
yes, ma'am.
And when we look at them, ostensibly, we cannot see any damage.
Mm,
They're still strong, they're vibrant, and they've been around forever. And so when we're actually in nature, it metaphysically revives our souls, whether we know it or not.
yes,
we
ma'am.
can we can step in that space and talk to the trees. I was just out of town a few weeks ago and in Georgia and Savannah and just looking at the trees and standing in a park. And I don't even know what I think I had a little bit of travel fatigue. And I took a few selfies under those trees and I immediately felt lifted.
Yes, ma'am.
Just that process of taking the selfies and acknowledging that the trees were there and I was there and being grateful to the creator that this was another day that I actually got to be alive and to experience the joy of that moment and the strength of that moment.
And we could not have planned this if we tried. This has always flowed and been very
Yeah.
organic. But the fact that you keep on talking about selfies, it
Mhm.
really is the module that they're about to do next week.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes, ma'am. So
Good.
it's not about
Good.
selfies, but they are
Right.
required to do picture taking. So they're
Okay.
going to do step number three of the Omni process and go into their nature selection, wherever that may be, and take
Right.
pictures of things that amplify their joy. I
Yes.
love that you just brought that in organically. Okay.
Thank you.
And I think your answer just now ties into question number 11. So we're almost done.
Okay.
How can people start to change their mindset and reframe their struggles while they are still going through them, not just after everything is over?
Well, the last part is where we'll begin with. And let me say this and say it louder for the people in the back. There are some things that are never over. Over is really overrated. Okay. There is no over. It happened. It resides in your spirit.
Mm,
It resides in your mind, your body, your soul. And part of the healing process is learning how to lean into uh, what's happening, to acknowledge it, and to be able to say to yourself, "This happened to me, and right now I don't know what to do with it, but I'm going to." Every time I think about it, I'm going to think about it and reflect on what I can do to live with this, not to get over it, to
mm,
live with this. How do I make room for this in my life and still live my life? And once we start to see um, situations that occur um, that we're still living with and we're still processing, I think it's important to do that. And then once we do that often enough, my experience has been that after a while, it becomes a part of you, but it's no longer central to who you are. It has its place, it has its time. And that might be grief, that might be loss, that might be disappointment, that might be shame. That could be any number of things that actually have the capacity to wound us, irrespective of fault or blame. It's just there. And so I think once we do that, again, we can start to move through with the sense of, okay, I know this happened, but I'm managing my life. I'm doing what I need to do in order to live and be the best version of myself I can be. And there's no report card. Again, there's no time limit. I get to have days where I'm a complete mess, and I get to have other days, where I'm singing in the shower and all is light right in the world.
mm.
And whatever phase I'm at or in that particular moment, it's fine. I'm moving through. I'm still moving towards my goal again, which, whatever that is. The bottom line is keep moving,
Keep moving.
keep
Thank you.
moving.
Thank you. Whew. All right, we have two questions left.
Okay, you look tired.
No, no, ma'am, I'm heavy.
Okay, heavy. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you heavy.
No, I'm heavy only, and it's not about your words, but it's just the beauty of this experience.
Okay, I get that. I get
I-
that.
my heart is pounding because for somebody to ask that question, somebody is hurting.
They are. And I want them to know it's okay to hurt.
And
It's
so,
perfectly okay.
as that empath, and you've
Hmm.
seen me, and you know me, but as that
Oh,
empath, I'm feeling that person's pain just through that question. But I'm
sure.
also feeling this beautiful sense of yes, that this could be a bridge moment towards healing that
Hmm.
I did not see coming in this assignment. I did not see coming in this elder in residence experience. So, yeah, my heart is heavy because of the hurt, but it's also light
Yeah.
because of the possibilities.
Yes, that part.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. No, thank you. You continue to teach. You continue to teach. Thank you. Question number 12.
Okay.
If she could go back and tell that little 5-year-old girl that things would work out all right, would she?
Nah, I couldn't tell her nothing. You ask if you can find anybody that knew me at 5, they tell you that that's been my theme my entire life. Oh, it's gonna be all right.
Oh.
We're gonna get through.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That
we're
you
going
told
through.
yourself that at 5.
At 5, I was already telling myself, okay, we're gonna get through. We're going through.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And of course, I was clever enough where I was already imagining what it would look like. I was already envisioning what the success would look like, beginning with the library card at 4, 5, however little I was, where I lied and told the librarian I was 9. Who lies to old people? I do, or I did. I've done anything to get that library card. Those books were my freedom, and
Yes,
they
ma'am.
had pretty trees out front too, which I loved.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
although it's not a question, I want to read the second half of that because it kind of
Mhm.
ties into like that heaviness I was feeling from the first question. So
Right.
it says, I often find myself asking, if I had known that back then, what would I have done differently? I think this is a piece of self-doubt, and I have to remember that all those experiences brought me to today and the person I am. So,
Well,
so this is what I'm holding. Like
okay.
as the professor in this class, that's asynchronous. So I don't get to see them. I don't get to
Right.
touch them and feel the energetic
Right.
transfer
Right.
to read it. I'm feeling it now. And then to allow a container to exist where you can pour into them. This is where I'm supposed to be. Okay.
I think so.
Question number
Well,
13.
okay, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that last part that hindsight is always 2020. And that's a James statement, my late father. He
Mm,
said, nobody reads a book backwards from backwards to the front. We'd all would have done something different.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
yeah,
real. That's real.
yeah.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
Has Dr. Janet always seen her later decades as a time of empowerment, or has this view changed and developed over time from lived experience?
That's kind of a mixture of both because first of all, I always thought I'd be dead somewhere around 50 something
Mm,
because my mom was.
mm,
Okay. My mom died when I was 14, so I didn't figure I'd live this long, first of all. So it's kind of been like the big woohoo moment.
right.
And the empowerment piece, I've always lived in an empowered state from the time I was 10 years old. I mean, I always had a sense of this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. And, my sister describes it best that when she grew up, she had three parents, the two that gave birth to her, that made her, and then me,
Mm.
because we were sort of like a committee there. She goes, they consulted you on everything. They thought you were an authority.
Ah, ah,
And so, yeah, I've always had a sense of empowerment and sort of seeing myself as my own corporation,
okay.
where the bottom line is I want to be good to everybody, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that Janet Haynes Corporation has lived a life that's worthy.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I've been going for. And so far it's worked.
And I was just about to say, and so far, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. All right.
Yes,
So that's all that we had for our questions. I'm going to upload this, and the students will have a chance to review your response to their questions.
yes.
I would just like to turn it over to you for any final closing words after you have had a chance to sit with just a second those
Mhm.
13 questions. Is there something that's vibrating in your soul that you would like to tell this inaugural class of Sitting with Trees, Nature, Memory, and Black Elder Wisdom?
Well, this class has brought me back to what it feels like to be uncertain,
Hmm.
which is, again, one of those generational kind of things, and it can happen in any generation, but especially when you're you're paying university tuition and you're wondering if you're on the right path or this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is where you're supposed to be. Am I dating the right person? Is this going to work out? Is that going to work out? And I guess what I want to say to everyone is that, pardon me, no one has a crystal ball. We're in this life, and one of the best ways to, I think, to be in it effectively from one's own sense of self, with one's own sense of self, is to see it almost like a grand adventure.
Mm.
It's a grand adventure. You don't know what's going to happen next. Just wake up every morning again, committed to being the best version of yourself that you can be. And when you don't feel like you can go any further, pause, rest, reflect, and then move. And it doesn't have to be in any particular direction when you're in that state. Move in any direction that feels like it's healing for you, like it's progress for you, and
Mhm.
just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. You got to keep going.
I love
You
it.
have to reach for life every day.
I love it. Well, I'm about to stop the recording
Okay.
and I'll keep you on just for a few seconds after that.
Okay.
But thank you
Okay.
so very much for being on this adventure, this grand
Yes.
adventure from 2024 September to where we are right now and where we're about to go beyond. So,
Exactly. My privilege.
thank you.